Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video, and this is another paid request for bogzombee. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thought streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for Welcome to Woop Woop. From 1997, from the director of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. I think he also did I've seen this, I really didn't like it, Eye of the Beholder with Ewan McGregor. I thought that was a really lame fuck of a movie. I didn't like this much either. I mean, this one really tried to be if John Waters did an Australian film. It does have its fan base, but there are people who just call it one of the worst Australian films ever. I don't know if it's that, but yeah, I didn't care about this. So it stars Jonathan Shake, who I remember, he was in Roadhouse 2 as the lead. He was in that film The Forsaken, that vampire film. He's been in a few other films. I think he was the killer in the Prom Night remake. The one with the guy just had a baseball cap. I haven't seen that film in forever. I think Idris Elba's like the cop, like the good guy cop in the movie. Oh, to be honest, I don't even like the original Prom Night. I don't really like any. I mean, the only one I could watch is Prom Night 2, which is okay. I wouldn't say I love it. So I don't really love any of the Prom Night films, to be honest. Anyway, going back to this. So Jonathan Shake, he's this con artist in the city, in America, I think New York, and he's doing this deal with exotic birds to sell them for like $1,000, and some women are buying some, but then these other guys that he owes their boss like $10,000 comes by and goes, well, what are you doing here, huh? And it's like, well, you know, I know I owe you money, but how about this? Don't hurt me. Come back tomorrow and give me 24 hours. While this back and forth is going on, this other lady, who I guess knows Jonathan Shake. Not I guess, I mean, she does. She pulls out a gun and threatens the two guys that are threatening Jonathan Shake. And then she wounds them. I don't even know. I know shoots one in the I think she kills them. She wounds them or kills them. Because she shoots one in the foot, and then she shoots again, then shoots the other guy, and it's like, what you doing? You don't get me killed. And pretty much he's got to get the hell out of Dodge since the deal went all fucked up screwy. And the sense of humor the film has, which I will say this is like one of the only times in the film I kind of chuckled. The exotic birds get loose, and for some reason almost every person on the street pulls out a gun. Everyone has a gun, and then they pull out a gun and start shooting at the birds. That was kind of funny. Just the amount of people that had guns and started shooting at the birds. That did make me kind of chuckle. That was the last thing that made me chuckle. Because you go to Australia, he accidentally hits a kangaroo. He mercy kills it. I think he's there to try to get more of those exotic birds. Because he mentioned the one bird he saw was from Australia. He stops. Well, first he mercy kills the kangaroo that he accidentally hit, and then he stops. Without him wanting to, he picks up some hitchhikers until eventually this lady's left there, kind of this blonde, pretty decent looking lady. She starts seducing him, they start fucking, time and time again, get to this beach. He's like, man, this is so great, and then she knocks him out. She knocks him out because she takes him to her home, where her dad is the daddy-o, I was going to say big daddy, but the daddy-o, the leader of this commune in the middle of the Australian desert called Woop Woop, where the lady has a sister, the dad is the leader, like I said, and the dad is Rod Taylor. I'm like, oh shit, from the Time Machine. That Rod Taylor, and from the Birds. Very different type of role because I'm used to, again, those the Time Machine I do like, the Birds I like. So when I think of Rod Taylor, I think of that kind of role. So a very different type of role from. So that was interesting to see because I do like that actor. And I'm like, is this guy Australian? But then the rest of the film is kind of just him stuck here in this commune, and it kind of meanders for a good chunk of it. Meanders. And I read up that apparently what happened was there was a 3-hour cut of this film. And they took it. Bad idea. They took it to the the Cannes Film Festival. Cannes, whatever, how you want to pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I've heard it pronounced the Cannes, and I've heard it pronounced the Cannes Film Festival. I don't give a shit. To be the Wrath of Khan for light here. Apparently, people booed and people thought it was shit. And then the company took the film away from the director and just cut it however the fuck they wanted to and released it. And so it's not technically a finished film, or at least not the director's vision. And then you have what you have. Scenes that kind of meander around and just trying to have like weird stuff happen for weird's sake. Okay, Rod Taylor has the commune listen to these show tunes on the speakers. The only films they can watch is these old movies, musicals from way back to the day of like the 30s or so. They get this canned dog food that they sell that apparently is made from kangaroos that they hit or kill during their time there. There's rabid dogs or just regular dogs, and once in a while they have something called Dog Day where kids go out and hunt the dogs. One of these dogs, our lead, I don't remember when he first adopted it. It's just all of a sudden he's got. Well, one of them is chasing it. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing with that dog?" But you don't see a whole lot like bonding with the dog, getting to know the dog. It just yells at a kid, and all of a sudden the dog's with him. He has some frustration with Rod Taylor. Rod Taylor going, "Hey, you poked her once, you poked her twice. Well, now you're married to her." And he'll look at pictures that he was unconscious during the wedding ceremony. There's a quick shot where a dog is used to pull out a kid's tooth. So there's the girl that he's married to, and then her sister he starts to like because she's one of the more normal people. One guy tries to escape, and Rod Taylor shoots and kills him. One guy named Duffy, you find out, was screwing one of his cousins, and Rod Taylor beats the shit out of him. Because apparently this commune was like, there was some asbestos thing in mines, and at one point they were ticked off, but they snuck back in, and they lived here as a community. Rod Taylor's ruling. It used to be a lot of incest, but now they kind of bring outsiders in to have a better gene pool, so to speak. So one of the rules is don't diddle your cousin. At one point, Jonathan Shake, he'll either do this thing with cars and do like little bets with people, or he's told to fix his VW van, he does, and then the next day it gets wrecked again because Rod Taylor doesn't like him, and killed his dog, or he says someone else killed the dog. The Rod Taylor's wife, the two ladies' mom, she once in a while talks and once in a while farts. What was the line? Excuse the breezes, it's the plumbing. Even when she's like dying, she farts. That's the kind of movie this is. there's a funeral for her, and there's like a little cross made of beer cans. He tries to rise people up at one point and tell them, hey, they got, they're watching football games, and they got the beer, and they got all this stuff there. And then pretty quickly, Rod Taylor dissipates it, and nobody really does anything, and they just goes on the spiel about what really happened to this town, and apparently that was enough to calm everybody down, including Jonathan Chait, or at least for that day. It just felt like this story just meandered and didn't really have a direction where it was going. Maybe with all the stuff that was cut out, they had more like merit to the like side plot stories that were going on. Well, here it was just kind of a bunch of little random things happen in this commune, and just waiting for what the fuck the point is of what the hell's going on. Because eventually, spoiler, at the end, during the funeral, him and the good sister make a break for it in a vehicle. Rod Taylor and the evil, married sister go after them. And then earlier they were told about this legend about this big kangaroo. So lo and behold, this big kangaroo that's really not shot that well. It's, you hear stuff and it's kind of nighttime, and then you see in the distance, and this is like bad effect. At one point you see an up close of a kangaroo, but you see like red eyes, and it's done with really shoddy special effects, or yeah, it wasn't that impressive. It wasn't that interesting. It wasn't that fun to look at. Wrecks the bad guy's vehicle, comes back down. They both survive, and our two leads escape. And then if you watch the end credits, one of the reasons Jonathan Chait was staying was because the lady said, "Oh, I'm pregnant with twins. What do you want to name them?" And he, like a wise ass, says, "Oh, Sonny and Cher." Now, when the mom dies, she whispered, "She's not pregnant." But apparently she was, because it cuts to like 15 years later. So I guess Jonathan Chait didn't have to worry about those guys from the beginning hunting him down, for what had happened. I guess he was fine with that. And I guess Sonny and Cher, like, I guess they were real, because they show up, they go, "Hi, Dad." So how the fuck did they even know where he was at? How the fuck did they know even where he went to? I guess I'm not supposed to think about that, so... Yeah, I didn't give a shit about this. I didn't care. I didn't think it was that funny. Jonathan Chait, I don't think is great leading man material. I just don't. I think there's plenty of other actors you could have chosen as the lead, other than Jonathan Chait. Rod Taylor was interesting to see him because of being familiar with his older work. The other people, I didn't know who they were, and I didn't care. It felt like there were things that were brought up, but like, I thought much more was going to be done with the dog food. Like they were going to take them on these various trips to kangaroo hunting with rifles or a vehicle. But now a whole lot's done with that. It's just kind of them pissing around for a good chunk of the middle portion of the movie, and I don't know. Didn't really give a shit about the characters. Didn't care about their situation. Didn't really find a whole lot of laughs, especially in the second half of the film. The thing with the big kangaroo, it just maybe if it had more fun special effects, it could have been kind of a funny way to end it. But I was like, whatever. I don't know, maybe some people, if they really do look at it as like an Australian John Waters type, maybe they would like it more. Maybe you would like it more. But for me, I didn't give a whole whoop, whelp, I'm more like, who gives a shit? I didn't give a fuck about this movie, so thank you to bogzombee, but yeah, this film, I didn't give a fuck about it. That's all I got. But hey, it is what it is. Thanks for watching, take care everyone, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.